I think it's important to just mention that we are seeing incidents like this one almost on the daily basis here in New York City. If her husband, who's just been taken into custody by immigration officers, is deported back to Ecuador, their home country, he risks being killed.
Adios. Adios. Come on, man. Come on. Oh my God.
I'm sure by now many of you have seen the video of the ICE agent horrendously pushing an innocent woman to the ground, yelling in her face, all in a fit of rage, only further highlighting the kinds of people Trump is hiring to carry out this humanity as he lowers standards across the board to bring in an influx of new loyalists. So we have that clip and more in a CNN panel. If you can, take a moment first, leave us a like on the video, helps us out a ton, gets us out there in the algorithm, and let's hop right into the content.
Adios. Adios. Come on, man. Come on. Oh my God.
Yeah, they're the children of this family, the children of this woman who in this video can be seen essentially pleading with this immigration officer. When you listen and you watch that very disturbing video, you can hear that she is asking the officer to take her instead. And she's trying to explain to him that if her husband, who's just been taken into custody by immigration officers, is deported back to Ecuador, their home country, he risks being killed.
It's cruel, despicable, inhumane, hard to watch. I would say borders on illegal, but is definitely unethical. You have to imagine too, if this is what they're willing to do in a public environment when they know people are watching, when they know cameras are rolling and people will see this, how are these people being treated behind closed doors in private when there aren't cameras to catch people in the action, when they know nobody will know what they're doing? You can see then, fathom why we've already had the deadliest year in ICE history with endless numbers of complaints of both physical and mental abuses in these facilities at the hands of the officers. But MAGA will of course tell you they voted for this, that this woman deserved this, that of course the officer was well within his limits to push an innocent woman to the ground and scream in her face after mocking her by saying adios as she pleads for her husband's literal life. This is MAGA.
I think it's important to just mention that we are seeing incidents like this one almost on the daily basis here in New York City. People who are showing up to court to go to their legally mandated court appearances and often being taken into custody by immigration officers in the hallways of that courtroom. Now, this incident has gotten a lot of criticism and a lot of attention from local elected officials here in New York City, including the Democratic mayoral nominee Zohran Mamdani, who just had a press conference here a short while ago, standing with members of the state assembly and the city comptroller Brad Lander, who was there yesterday when this incident unfolded. And it's become essentially a flashpoint in the city's race for mayor.
I'm glad we've at least moved past as a country where this sort of behavior receives majority support. Trump is demonstrably underwater on deportations, demonstrably underwater on immigration, and it's because of this exact type of sickening behavior that we are seeing all across the country, none of which is being condemned by Trump. In fact, to the extent that he gives any time or energy or comments on anything relevant, it's in support, right? He doubled down after defying Abrego Garcia's due process that there would be more just like it. JD Vance has doubled down in a slew of interviews. These are shameful, racist, fascist authoritarians who we should not play lightly with because they're not going to do so with our democracy. And if any of us don't have rights, then none of us do.
Here in New York, we've also just learned from the office of Congressman Dan Goldman, who has been witnessing a lot of these interactions down at the federal court in Lower Manhattan, that they are referring this incident for federal prosecution to the U.S. Attorney's Office. So they also are calling for an investigation and potential federal charges against this officer.
Yeah, it really is something to have that video from start to finish and see how it all unfolded. It is crystal clear there. Gloria Pezmino, thank you so much.
And this is what happens every time because, again, plenty of these are happening not receiving the coverage they should, this is how we should be responding, as this sort of backlash, this sort of media spotlight that then forces these clowns, these fascists, to have to backpedal and force accountability onto someone. They'll never take it for themselves, but they have to force it onto someone. They have to have the conversation, which is important. And the more then that these conversations are had, more everyday Americans can see what this admin is truly up to, the lack of humanity that runs deep through this cabinet, and how willing they are to go to these fascist authoritarian lengths to reach their goals of which will always personally and often financially benefit them. And they can't guarantee that personal benefit will 100% line up with yours, or even 50% of that, right? At best, you hope for the crumbs while they go back for seconds on the pie.